Thank you, Mike. Good afternoon, everyone. It is 1:30. We do have to call our meeting back to order. Um, like to get started on time this afternoon for session two of our agenda. We want to stick to the agenda. We had a very productive morning, so if we could get our members back to the table, get those members online, and we'll get our meeting started. And our members in our community hubs over in Atlin, Carcross Tagish, and the TTC Whitehorse office. I wanted to give this to you, Mom. That's the PowerPoint we're going to go through. We have new citizens. William McGill, KUC.
Did you think you were in trouble when you heard
So I can't see if folks in Carcross Tagish are ready to go, or Atlin, or the Whitehorse office, or if we have a number of participants online ready to go. I'll go down. Excellent. Thank you very much. Also, Jessica, if I could get a list of participants we had this morning that were joining us via the Zoom, and if we get a small breakdown of who is actually in each of the hubs, that'd be wonderful. Just so everybody knows who's participating and where they're at.
How many did they kill?
I know. That's okay.
Nothing.
They'll come back for the vote.
But we'll get that information gathered up for you guys, because I think it's really important that you be able to hear that information of who's all participating online. When we do these meetings like this for our general council, it was quite amazing to see where we had participants joining in from. And we had participants joining in from New Mexico and Juneau and way over to Ontario and all down in BC and Alberta and PEI. We had people participating in PEI, so really effective, and it really brought a lot of good conversation and being able to really reach out to our citizens to have this virtual technology at our hands. Excellent. So the folks in Whitehorse are ready to go, and Carcross Tagish are ready to go. Atlin's ready to go. We still have the Whitehorse office open. For people that are listening there, want to go down to the Whitehorse office and participate. And you can even get some free chicken there today, too. So we will roll into our second portion of the day. Thank you, everybody. We'll call our meeting back to order here, 1:32 p.m. We had a lot of participation this morning and a lot of good conversation this morning. And the idea was to be able to have a second session this afternoon to allow new members to come in and participate who would be able to join us this morning. And so for those also who submitted questions online there and stuff like that, we're going to hold those until we get into our second portion of the day. So I have not forgotten about your comments. Susan Carlick was one of them there, Elizabeth Steele. So we will definitely get back to you guys on your comments and your questions that you had this morning. But we would like to roll in this afternoon. Welcome KOC here, who joined us this afternoon. My mother, Will McGill. And thank you, Bess, for her time with us this morning. She has to go back this afternoon and go teach some Tlingit classes online. So very busy lady, her. She also does our translation interpretation of our general councils too, Bess. You know, it's quite a skill that she sits in her booth behind us and translate everything into the Tlingit language, and you can listen on in your headsets. So we had some great discussion this morning there about the PowerPoint and then how we can work together. And what are some of your ideas of like an open suggestion box here for the steering committee and the committee members of how we can continue building this relationship and having this nation rebuilding, the Tlingit Nation rebuilding, get some traction again. We had wonderful speeches there from Ali Clark there in Atlin, and beautiful words, Ali. A big virtual hug out to you. And, you know, and she says the elders over there are saying, let's just do it. Let's just get working, you know. So we definitely get the, there's definitely the momentum is in the air. We have people committed, ready to continue doing the work, and I appreciate everything from the leadership and the steering committee and the lead negotiators and all their roles, and they're also the people that are working with them and providing all their technical support and backup. I know David works very closely with Dorothy, and they have a very good working relationship. So, so this morning we'll just open it back up for the leadership welcoming remarks. From the three nations, the three chiefs. I hope Linda Dixon is online with us again. There, she can have some opening remarks. I'll get our tech team to look for her there on the Zoom, but I'll start with our spokesperson from Atlin, Taku River Tlingit, Mr. John Ward. Good morning or good afternoon, sir. So do you have any opening remarks again for us this afternoon and reflect on maybe a bit of this morning's experience?
Thank you, Bobby. When you introduced yourself this morning, it brought back memories of your grandma and stuff. I could have easily called her mom as well, and she would treated me very much like one of her own. The session is good. I like the approach. You know, it's not so academically driven and technically and so on. And the way we're ending off towards the lunch about engagement, I think utilizing our way of life a little more for those engagements would be pretty successful, will add to the success. You know, I've been involved at home, spent, my good friend Brian Jack and I probably spent 20 years opening up the Dakh-Ka Trail to the Taku watershed. It's a beautiful trail, very enjoyable to walk, nice camps along the way. And I think it's be a good spot to do some of this work along that way. And, you know, if funding can be supplemented, you can always write proposals for something like that anywhere and just include it in this type of work. So that's kind of my a little bit of input on that. It's good to see everybody, and I'm really glad that people are really getting involved virtually and saying what's on their mind or how they feel about these things. So I look forward to listening to more of it. Thank you.
Good chief. John, you know, when you talked about the Nakana there, I used to work for the Taku River Tlingit First Nation, and I've had the opportunity going out to Nakana. I did not walk the trail. I'm sorry, I cheated and I took a helicopter. But it was surely beautiful out there. And I was working on the negotiation team with the Taku River Tlingit at the time, and I remember we had BC government out at Nakana there and have a negotiation around campfire. It was truly effective and it was really powerful, and it was really great to see and good to be working outside like that. So did we find, just waiting here for, we got Miss Linda Dixon.
Yeah, I'm online. I'm just waiting for, yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I'll hand the floor to you. There are just some welcoming opening remarks, and good afternoon, Miss.
Good afternoon. I'm glad to be part of the full part this afternoon. I missed part of the morning, so that was kind of discouraging on my part. I'd like to introduce, we have in Carcross down at the hub, Roberta Wally, Charlie James, Bill Barrett, Georgiana Lowe was there this morning, but I don't see her there now. And we also have Deputy Mariah Benoit online. And I do believe George Shepard and Robert Wally are in Teslin participating in person. So I'm just looking forward to the discussions today, learning some more information. I think Carcross Tagish First Nation would like to have, I know it was discussed before about elders meetings. It would be nice if we could have just to get together, just, I mean, no meeting in particular, just sit around and just enjoy one another's company at first. Just because of the COVID, we haven't been able to do any kind of events or any kind of meetings or elders meetings or joint meetings. So Zoom is nice, but it's also really nice to be able to see people in person. So looking forward to the discussions today. And I don't know, Mariah, would you like to say a few words? Goodness cheese, everybody.
Can you see me?
Hey, Mariah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to be here and taking part in the Zoom. And I really enjoyed listening to this morning. And one of the things that I thought about was a good way to participate in Hakustier is maybe have it through the Dakh-Ka program, and then we could all participate and share in the celebration that way. Instead of having it one community and then the other community, but maybe just do it through Dakh-Ka and all participate together and all put our money in together and have a great big celebration, kind of like what they do down in Juneau. So that was one of the ideas, one of the thoughts I had, and that would be a good way to all come together too.
Got my job done.
Finish cheese and have a good meeting.
I'm not
Ah.
going.
Ms. Sheesh. Was there anyone else there?
I think she said Bev. Bev Samson.
Okay. So there is a process for the Zoom participants to raise your hand, and then our tech team will patch you through. Then she can announce me in this little earbug I have in my ear here. So we'll move on with opening remarks, and Ganesh Chish, thank you, John. Thank you, Linda, and Chief Morris.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, thank you, Bobby, for that. I won't say all that I said this morning. I know that this is being recorded, so a lot of that will be there for your information. One of the things I did want to just acknowledge is my oversight with the introductions, and say gunta cheese to Yasan for introducing our people that are of Teslin here, and the time that he took to do that. And respectfully, I wanted to thank him for that, and also acknowledge our executive that are here with me. I am the Nashad Ahani for Teslin Tlingit Council. Coach now Khatduasal Tlingit Genach Dakh-Ka Achat. My Tlingit name is Coach Nau, and I belong to the Dakh-Ka clan of Teslin. And I just wanted to acknowledge Sandy Smarch, who is also here with me. He represents our Hukiton clan for our nation. And Dwayne Gastanta is also with us today too, and he represents our Yanyeri clan of Teslin. But also to acknowledge Blair, who also helps with our work as the executive council, Gunta, and he was with the Ishkitan clan. And so I wanted to just to acknowledge also Nath Lahash, who is one of our clan leaders that's here with us also, and Chino, who is also here with us as well. He's our clan leader for our Yanyeri clan. So I wanted to acknowledge their presence. You know, and I think a lot of what has been talked about this morning, and most likely will be this afternoon as well, as I think it's, you know, my focus was language, culture, and looking at how we just implement different aspects of being able to look at how we can begin to share some of the things that are within our communities, that are within our families and our clans and our communities, looking at how we have those, we create those opportunities to make that happen. You know, sharing some of the history of our people, sharing some of the history of some of the things that we did together those many years ago, being able to talk about that so that we can have that as part of our memories in terms of the dialogue that we could have with our younger people in our communities. You know, just about those connections that are there, you know, the connections that we have with each other, through our friendships, through our family connections, through our clan connections. You know, just I think that's really important, you know, and a big part of that was, I think, the connection that we have that's related to spirituality. You know, we look at that as, when I look at that and I think about that, I think that spirituality is really a big part of all the things that we do. You know, we're asked, we're told, and we're reminded, and we're given instructions to give thanks for everything that has been given to us, because that's how things will always be there for us in the future. If we give thanks for the things that we've been given, give thanks for the things that we take, you know, just being able to be in that place to be able to know how to do that and when to do it. And I think it's really, really critical. You know, and as one of our past clan leaders, Ted Kunch, our Dakh-Ka clan leader, my Dakh-Ka clan leader, used to say, we have to be as one. You know, we have to think as one, and we have to do things as one, and we have to come together and be together and really make that coming togetherness a very strong part of what it is that we do, because that's what's gonna help us to last into the future. And I think this is an opportunity that's been created for us to be able to make that happen. And we have to be able to take up this opportunity to really maximize on it, and really look at the focusing a concentrated effort on making it happen. You know, one of the things that I think about for COVID, for example, when COVID first came around, and our elders actually were talking about it, and one of the elders that doesn't live in Teslin, that lives away from Teslin, Darlene Kerr, she's a Dakh-Ka member. She talked about COVID, and she said you have to realize that COVID in itself, it's got a spirit just like anything else in the world. And she said you have to look at it like that. That spirit, it's there, and it's come to us for a reason. And if you look at what it's done over its time that it's been here, it's really driven a cause for us to think about what's necessary in our lives, right? And one of the things that's important to us is just being able to be with family, to being with those that are really important in our lives, and understanding that significance of that, and really understanding what is necessary for us to make it in this day, with COVID being in this place, and looking at the challenges of that when things happen outside of our own world that we live in, how those directly impact how we live in our own communities, in our own nations. And if you look at things like climate change, for example, how climate change is impacting us in this country here, but also in other areas where it's even more negatively impact. You know, and I know that we're told that many years ago, like a long time ago, they said when we prayed together, they said that we could send our prayers clean around the world, and that prayer will come right back to us. That's how strong our prayers were. And so we are in that place, and it's just a matter of being able to really understand how it is that we need to get together, work together, think together, play together, you know, spend time together with each other, you know, even if it's in silence, you know. I know that sometimes when our people are having difficulty, and I'll go and visit a family and I'll sit with them for a while, and I probably will leave without saying one word, you know, and I'll see somebody later that was there and they say, Eric, you know, even though you didn't have a lot to say, your presence was important to us. You know, so I think about those kinds of things. Those are the things that we need to talk to our younger people about. Talk to them about those kinds of qualities that helps us together, helps us out in tough situations. you know, and I honestly believe that, and I honestly believe that in my heart. That's what's going to help us, you know, because I can't help but think that unity is really the direction that we want to go. Really look at how those elders envision us being together. Look at how they wanted us to be together, how they yearned for us to be together. You know, when I think about that, let's make strong efforts to make that happen. Let's make strong efforts to really continue that, because it is already happening in different ways right now. It's just that we need to take time to recognize that, and I think it's going to help us a lot. So, Gunta, for all of you that are participating and being online, you know, I think this is going to be really helpful to getting us launched off the ground in terms of where we want to go. And I think there's going to come a time when we're going to be able to talk about this time, and we say we got together back in February in 2021, and we can say the rest is history, right? So, Iguach kon Gunta.
Ms. Cheesh, thank you, Nishada Honey. 2021, sometimes just hard to believe. So this afternoon we're gonna run through our PowerPoint presentation again. There, Chantel will take us through that. We'll hear opening remarks from their team before we go through the presentation, and then Blair's going to talk to us from Gunta there and explaining about how the engagement process works with this, how we're going to try to collect this information so we can all be participating. And then we will do the citizens open forum again, and we want to hear from people, and it's more of a brainstorming, you know, of how can we take any suggestions on to improving the nation rebuilding and strengthening the Tlingit Nation building. So with that, I don't know if we have Mark Wedge this afternoon with us yet or not, and but I'll hand it over to Chantel and Dave for opening remarks. Good afternoon.
Good day. My name is Shagaki. It means woman on the mountain watching down. It's a name that was gifted to me by my grandmother, the late Evelyn Jack. My grandparents are Evelyn and Sylvester Jack, and my mother is Yvonne Jack. My English name is Chantel, and I'm the lead negotiator for Taku River Tlingit First Nation. I'm also the government-to-government co-chair. And I am the steering committee member for Nation Rebuilding. I've been involved for a couple of years. And we also have George Esquiro, who is our elder, and he's on the advisory committee. We have Louise Gordon, who is also the governance manager for TRTFN, and she is on the advisory committee. And as well on the advisory committee, we have Peter Kirby. So I do know that George Esquiro wanted to make a few comments as he's one of the advisory committee members. If we can please go to George Esquiro under Vince Esquiro's Zoom.
George?
George Esquiro?
Okay. He's just logged in as George, I think, so we'll try him there. Hello, George. He's in Atlin?
Yeah, they're in Atlin. They're not aware.
Oh.
We can move on.
Can you speak up a little bit, sir?
All right, we weren't able to get them, but I would like to acknowledge, and George Esquiro may want to provide some comments. He was following along on the morning session and had some important things to say, particularly about language and culture and some of the experiences that he has had as an elder. His presence and input is very valuable. And what I mentioned in the morning session that I'd like to repeat here is the people on the advisory committee were specifically chosen in TRT's case to complement my younger years. So we made sure to collect people who have that history, who live in the community, who have jobs there, and who have some of that experience in what has happened to get us to where we are today. Gunta.
Oh. Sheesh, thank you, Chantel. Mr. David Keenan. Oh, so we got George online there. Sorry, before we move on to David, we'll go back. George is online. Hello, George. Good afternoon, sir.
I think you might have the wrong George.
Wrong
I
George.
think you might have.
Okay. We'll move on to David Keenan then.
Okay. Well, thanks very much, Bob, and good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here, and good afternoon to everybody online. Appreciate the convenience that this Zoom does bring to us and the inconvenience of the COVID. So my name is David Keenan. I'm the son, the proud son of Pearl Keenan and Hugh Keenan, born and raised here in Teslin 69 years ago. And remember my community well on those years. And I grew up as a little boy here. And so I remember the interaction that we had of the elders and the governance systems at that point in time. And it's a great reflection, and it's a great energy that we're bringing forward to reinvigorate our culture into where we're at. So I've been appointed, pardon me, I've been appointed to the steering committee of the the steering committee of the Rebuilding the Nation. And I work in conjunction with Chantel Schultz and with Mark. And the reason why we were put to the steering committee is because this Rebuilding the Nation proposal is very closely linked with the treaty negotiations and that we're working forward to participating in together. So it's a natural link. And to support us here at this, we have an advisory committee. And TTC's interim advisory committee at this point in time is Bess Cooley and Richard Sidney. We are in the process right now, the Teslin Council appointing another person to be sitting on here. And this committee is really the support committee to where we're going here and why they're here today. I don't see anybody here that can really speak to the issues from the committee. Been introduced already, and the elders in the community here. So really, I just look forward to working with this process and continuing to strengthen our nation and to bring it into the future. So we have a real modern government based on old-fashioned, old ingrained Tlingit values. Thank you very much.
Sheesh, thank you, David. Before we move on to Gunta business, I just got message that we have the real George Esquire online now. The other George. You're both real, brothers. So if we could, we'll queue up George Esquire there and have some opening comments. He's under
Hello.
Vincent. Good afternoon,
Hello.
sir.
Yes. This is George.
Remember the interaction that we had of the elders and the governance.
Hello.
Say turn down your volume.
Yeah, we can hear you, but could you turn down your volume? I don't know. We're getting some feedback there.
Okay, just give me a second.
Committee of the advisory. And the reason why
I'm having trouble with my son's. Is that any better?
Okay, we'll try that there, George.
Is that any better?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. I can start because I hear Dave talking right now.
Oh, okay. There's a delay. So if you just ignore what you're hearing on your app, then just talk to us because I can hear you clear as day when we're talking live to each other. So if you turn the volume off, then you'll get rid of that delay from your Zoom app.
Turn the volume off of the computer.
Yeah, and because I can hear you. Just go ahead, George, and talk.
Okay, I just wanted to say a couple of things. This is George Esquiro, Yund 18, the Croqueton clan. I wanted to make a couple of little notes on that's on part of the discussion. Like with, I think it's really important that that Tagish people be included in some of the conversations that we're going to have in the future, because it keeps coming up as things progress. So I think that would be something we don't want to ignore. We want to be part of that discussion. And the other thing I wanted to say is, as far as elders go, and I'm including myself as one of those, is that I can only speak for myself when I say that because of the boarding school system, I have a real problem with learning my language. And so therefore it's really, it's hard for me to learn my history because so much of it comes out of our language. So all the stories and all the laws that we have and all the discussions on boundaries and all of that could all be addressed in Tlingit, and it's all addressed through our stories. And then I even tried taking the Tlingit language course when they held it in Atlin, and because of mental blocks that come up from the boarding school system, and now because my short-term memory and my long-term memory are a lot more diminished because of my age, and I'm sure that other elders are experiencing the same thing. But I mean, it's great when I hear our language spoken, and I really got to admire all the young people that are learning and speaking our language and learning the stories, because that's going to be so important in the future. And I think it's very important that as the Dakh-Ka Nation gets stronger and stronger, that we compile and learn all of these stories from all of our nations in order to identify our boundaries and in order to identify exactly where we all fit. And I guess that's all of it. Thank you.
Good as cheese. Thank you very much, George. Appreciate your comments there. So we'll move on here, and understand we have Roberta Wally in Carcross Tagish office. Good afternoon, Roberta.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to apologize that, well, Mark couldn't be here this morning or today because he had some other things, but he asked me to step in. So I am listening and I'm relaying everything back to him. He's asked if I could step up a little bit more within the nation building because, as Dave was saying earlier, that because we are also doing treaty negotiations. And so he is pretty busy with that. So I'm sitting in this table a little bit more often now. And I just wanted to also apologize for not introducing our advisors this morning. We have some of our advisors have been working with us online and listening all day. And one of them is Rita Johns. And she has Tagish ancestry as well. And Charlie James is here with us in person. And myself was appointed to be on the advisors. And some of our people that are here online as well with our language department was Deborah and Sean McDougall were here all morning. And in the afternoon here, we have Derek, who's also with our language and culture department. And some of our citizens like Rose Sellers is listening online. And I just want to say appreciation to them listening and participating. And sheesh.
Sheesh. Thank you very much, Roberta. I thought that was Charlie. I could see in that picture there. So good afternoon, Charlie, and everybody else. Okay, we'll move on to the Gunta team introductions. Mr. Blair Hogan.
Thank you. Gunachish Gunta Yuatusa Ishkatania Hat Sharahani Lahashudusach. My name is Blair Hogan. I'm here representing Gunta Business. we're helping with the engagement side. Just to give you guys a bit of an explanation to who we are in our team. So our team is myself. We have Jessie Stephen in the back. She's managing the phones, as well as the app conversations and making sure that Bob can read them. So as you're watching this in the app, anything you anything you type into the chat box is immediately visible to the speaker. The other way that we're managing people today is the more active participants or the reps are on Zoom. I'm managing that and we're using a hand raise function. As soon as you raise your hand, Bob's aware and then he invites you to speak. So that's kind of how we're moving forward with that. And then the last piece is that we've set up 4 virtual hubs today, yesterday and today. So we have Whitehorse, we have Carcross, we have Atlin, and we also have Teslin here, totally wired with cameras, lights, microphones. So really anybody just needs to show up to one of those places. So that's the Whitehorse office, that's the Carcross Learning Center, and that's the Atlin Rec Center. So those are the 3 places outside of the Heritage Center that we're sitting in are virtually set up. And then we have people all over zooming in. So Dwayne's won the most distanced connected person today. I also would mention that Stephanie Pennickett is assisting on the background. We have Molly Lang in the Carcross spot, and then we have Duncan Stephen in Whitehorse. And so Christine Callahoo as well is online to support us. And then I would like to thank Jessica Hall and Upstream and Chris and everybody and for the whole technical support that we have today. That's my whole intro. Thank you.
Good, Ashish. Thank you, Blair. Yes, they have a little earpiece in my ear, and they have me hooked up with iPads, so questions and so it's a lot to keep up with here. But it's great technology, and that we can share this information and engage with each other. So at this time, we'll move into our PowerPoint presentation from Chantel Schultz and the Nation Rebuilding. And I'll just hand it over to you, young lady. Thank you very much.
Good Ashish. So I can't actually see from where I am which of the leadership for TRT are online. Excuse me. I know that Vincent Esquiro, who is one of our Wolf Clan directors, is in the Atlin Hub. And I saw James Williams and Vernon Williams, who are our Wolf and Crow clan leaders, but not sure of who else may be on there. Sorry if I escaped you. Okay, so in terms of the PowerPoint presentation, what we are describing to you today is the most recent progress that we have made as a team, but this initiative was actually started a couple of years ago. A proposal was submitted for the federal initiative, and it just took us some time to gather what we needed in order to get moving. And a large part of that was gathering up all of the data and information from the past decades of work that was ongoing already from our elders and our communities before us. So what we are talking about today is just the most recent developments, and please understand that what we are giving to you is just the starting point. So it's the starting point for where we are resuming work and building off the work that was already done. We don't have a set agenda or a work plan created. All of that will be done in the next coming months based on the information provided from you, the citizens. The Dakh-Ka Nation Rebuilding Project. There's a quote here from Elder Jackie Williams, the Yanyeti clan leader. We gain strength in holding hands together. I remember my grandpa teaching me Tlingit names for the stars. We need to share our culture so we can treat Mother Earth the right way, be strong with one another, and balance ourselves with her. We are going through a period of confusion. The people need to walk together to grow in strength and go forward together. The agenda is a bit of a map of the journey today. What we're focusing on and what we want to share with you are the themes of focus for the project, the purpose of the project, the journey to date. We'll talk a little bit about what has been learned to date through the research, the idea of moving forward to the 3=1 nation with emphasis on how the citizens can get involved, and with the energy of a canoe race as our motivation. Guk, go, a description of how we're going forward together. The themes of focus for the project: unity, working together, who we are, one language, one culture, one land. The time is now. We hear from our leaders and from people who've been involved in this for a long time that this work has been ongoing for many years and that now the time is here. Politically, economically, we have many advantages and opportunities, and now is the time to capitalize on that. The important theme of coming home and self-government. What does this look like? There's a quote at the bottom. As inland Tlingit people, we must have respect for others, the spirit world, and ourselves. We understand that it is our birthright, our responsibility to respectfully uphold and practice Hakustiye, following our ancient Tlingit law, which dictates how we live with everything. The purpose of the project, Rebuilding the Nation. On February 1st, 2021, the Executive Council of the Teslin Tlingit Council hosted a meeting with Carcross Tagish First Nation and Taka River Tlingit First Nation leaders. We came together to discuss and resolve how we will approach rebuilding our Dakh-Ka nation. The Executive Council from the 3 First Nations have been working to formally bring all 3 First Nations together as one nation, one voice, the Dakh-Ka Inland Tlingit Nation. The quote at the bottom is from a letter of understanding signed by the chiefs of Dakh-Ka Tlingit member First Nations from 1997, and it says, "The Dakh-Ka Tlingit Nation is one people with one traditional territory. Our elders have always told us that we are one nation and have directed us to act as one nation." At that meeting of February 1st, we reaffirmed the importance of our Dakh-Ka mission statement, which is to reunite for all time the Dakh-Ka as one self-reliant and self-governing nation based on healthy citizens who believe and practice a strong cultural identity. This will ensure protection and the wellness of our future generations, the land, the water, and our environment. At that meeting, our leaders, the leaders of the respective nations, agreed to encourage our collective focus on these areas through a resolution, and those areas are wildlife, boundaries, economic development, language and culture, and legislation. What we hear from those areas, we know that wildlife is a very important piece, and it seems to be one of the priority topics that comes back from community input. Boundaries talk has been discussed a lot. Where are the boundaries for each of the nations? What does shared territory and overlap mean? How can we coordinate? What is our territory going to look like after? We hear that it's one territory, one nation. And we have heard in the morning session the impacts of the segregation that was imposed on us by the colonial governments. And that's what the purpose of this project is to address, is how we can focus on these areas, the wildlife, boundaries, economic development, the language and culture and legislation, how we can use all of that to create a blueprint for how we work together so that all of us can benefit from the resources that are available in our territories. Currently, right now, we have many treaties, the treaty opportunities that are ongoing. We want to collect and collaborate in at least some form so that we can all benefit, so that Tlingit people are the ones also benefiting from the resources on the land and not just outsiders. We have a timeline and a deadline on creating a joint work plan, and that's the resolution and direction that came from our chiefs at the February 1st meeting. So you'll be hearing a lot more about that. This is the continuation of the work from the past number of decades, our journey together. The leadership recognized that it is key to hear from citizens about how we can work together as a nation. The importance of the 3 Tlingit nations to meaningfully engage with our citizens, to talk about how we can work together for the betterment of our respective nations, cannot be overstated. Citizen guidance is what is going to move this project forward as we rebuild the nation. And we do mean that we cannot move forward without the citizens. We're at the starting point of resuming the work that was already begun in previous decades. And without citizen guidance, we won't know how you want us to work and where you want us to go. The journey to date, what we have learned. There has been an incredible amount of work done to date over the last number of decades as our leaders and elders before us focused on Dakh-Ka nation rebuilding. We benefit from this work in that we are able to collect all that has been done, compile it, share and learn from it, and then build upon this amazing journey to date with you, the citizens. So all of that work, the words of our elders, the work that was done previously, and I'd like to also acknowledge that the Constitution, we had some documents and we were able to see that on the February 1st meeting. That Constitution was from 1986, which is the year I was born. And so it really is truly an honor to be able to help continue that work that was begun by our ancestors and carried forward from our elders decades ago, and that we're now resuming today. Moving forward, Dakh-Ka nation rebuilding. With the project themes guiding our work, we will continue to review and capture the work done over the past decades to benefit from the work of our nation leaders and elders, both past and present. Share with the citizens what is learned. Listen and learn with the citizens through numerous points of engagement, in-person and virtual meetings, much like we're doing today, social media feedback, on the land events. There's been lots of great suggestions for those types of things that we might do, and other opportunities moving forward as guided by the citizenry. The important point of the engagement here is that we offer multiple ways for our citizens to provide us with feedback and to feel included in what we're doing here. It's really important that we offer those activities and events that speak to our citizens on a cultural, a spiritual level, and that we use those opportunities to reaffirm the glue that holds us together, binding us together as one nation, one voice, one culture, one language. We want to make sure that those on-the-land events are offered in a multitude of ways. And over the lunch break, we heard some really great ideas as well from the chiefs about maybe going to the river for a meeting. We want to make that happen. We also heard about the lands departments carrying on some kind of standardized. So what I mean by that is we host similar programs in parallel, programs and initiatives that could benefit some of the populations of our people that sometimes feel left out right now. Maybe because they don't have the same academics or the technological world is moving too quickly. There are ways to include and incorporate and honor every citizen for their contribution and their place in our communities. And we want to pay attention to that. We want to develop learning products that enable and support all of us gaining a better understanding as to what the Dakh-Ka nation will look like. With the energy of a canoe race as our motivation, Gook. Next project steps could include a spring beaver hunt and camp with a focus on the elders and youth. We have heard that that's an event that speaks to people culturally and was something that happened historically and doesn't happen anymore. And some of the people on the advisory committees have fond memories of those times spent with our other inland Tlingit neighbors. We want to host other community and nation-focused activities that support collective learning and sharing about the Dakh-Ka nation. So all those stories that we heard, people want to have recognized and honored, all of those pieces of knowledge and tidbits of history, that stuff's really important. And we want to find a way to collect all of that and share what all of you already know. We need to develop the required products and initiatives to formalize the Dakh-Ka nation as one with guidance from the citizenry. So when we talk about products, that can be anything from logos, materials, websites, videos. There's lots of opportunities for us to develop things that can go straight back to the citizens to show what we're doing here. And of course, citizen guidance requested as to engagement. How do you want to be engaged? How do you see that going? How often? The project guides and supports. The intro at the beginning, we acknowledge the steering committee members, Dave Keenan, Mark Wedge, and myself. And our role includes bi-weekly steering committee project-related meetings. So we'll meet twice a month minimum. I definitely foresee that schedule increasing as time goes on. And what we will do at those meetings is the preparation and the development and execution of the community engagement sessions. So we basically make sure that we are involved heavily in all of the detailed planning and the requirements for hosting things like this, to make sure that any of the meetings that we have to go back to the community, that we're playing the role and executing those specific details as well as we can. Our job is to inform the leadership and citizenry. So as the lead negotiators and the steering committee members, our direct link is to leadership and also to the citizens. So we have that bottom-up and top-down approach at the same time to make sure we're capturing as many elements as we can. We also lead the project communication with the advisory committee. So as a steering committee, we're the first point of contact, and we delegate out and share out information through the advisory committee as well. And one of the most important jobs is to update the community on an ongoing basis as to project intent, the progress, and the when, where, and how community members are able to participate. The advisory committee has a very similar role. The advisory committee serves an essential purpose on the project. They support the steering committee, and they do that by attending steering committee and AC meetings. So that means that they would attend on at least a monthly basis to maintain an ongoing awareness and understanding regarding the project progress. So they need to know what's happening so they can tell you, the citizens. They will also be updating the community in the same manner as the steering committee as described in the last slide. We wouldn't be able to get anywhere and continue with the work that we're doing if we didn't have a project coordinator. Our project coordinator is Lynn Gagnon. She is at the back there, and the project coordinator is an essential role. There are so many details to remember and to be including. And Lynn Gagnon, as the Nation Rebuilding Project Coordinator, is the direct link to Gunta, the project engagement team. So that really helps move a lot of the work off of the steering committee. And that's part of the reason why we weren't able in the 2 years previous to this to move as quickly as we would have liked. We did not benefit at that time from a project coordinator. We did not have an engagement team. And that resulted in us being under-resourced. So we have a team now. We have a fully staffed team, and I'm so grateful for the technical support and the coordination that we have that has led us to being able to do such a revolutionary event. This is my first time in an event like this, and it's working really well from my experience so far. We wanted to make sure that we reviewed today's objectives. So we set out in this to share some of the current themes of focus for the project based upon the short work to date, and which we will build upon with your guidance. We wanted to share with you the purpose of the project. We wanted to share with you what has been learned to date through reading decades of work that we can now build upon together. We also wanted to secure from you, the citizens, how you would like to be involved as you guide the project going forward. Again, we can't move forward without the guidance of our communities. With the energy of a canoe race is our motivation. Go. There is a quote at the bottom from Lucy Wren from an elders gathering in 1998. Be strong for the sake of our children. You have a lot of children following you. It is up to us as parents to pass on the language like the way it was done a long time ago. In closing, one primary objective of today's session is to ask you, the nation's citizens, how you would like to guide the project process, including how you would like to participate, how often you would like to participate, how do you think we should communicate and inform about the project, and other things you would like us to consider. This picture is included here, and Elder Bess Cooley had this shirt from previous years. She was here this morning wearing this shirt and displaying it proudly. It speaks to the Tlingit Nation before the name of Dakh-Ka. It stands for Atlin, Carcross, and Teslin. And it aptly says, act, which really fits with the theme of our meeting today. Do it now. Act now. Dakh-Ka Nation.
Oh. Sheesh. Thank you very much for that, Chantel. Open the floor here for questions, comments. Really appreciate your presentation. And I really like your quote there at the beginning. My old friend, Jackie Williams, when I worked in Taku Tlingit country, Jackie used to come into my office all the time and we'd sit down and have good discussions. So we're going to go out to Pembroke, Ontario. Mr. Dwayne Acoyne. Hello, sir. Good afternoon or good evening, whatever time it is there.
It's still early afternoon. We just got a big Alberta clipper went through. Lots of snow from Alberta. Thanks, Alberta. Anyways, this has been good. Really appreciate all the work that's gone into this and seeing my Dakh-Ka Tlingit from all three communities. I spoke this morning, but I just want to repeat again for anybody who wasn't there that for us who don't live in the Yukon, in Teslin, there's about 1/3 of our citizens who don't live in the Yukon. And I'm sure it's the same for Carcross and for Atlin. And one of the silver linings to this pandemic it's forced us to embrace these modern technologies so that more of our citizens can participate in our nation's business. And so I just want to say that I really appreciate that this is a virtual as well. That even after the pandemic, I really stress that don't forget about us who aren't in the Yukon, and please continue to use this technology to include us as well. And it is so appreciated. And many of us are like, when the pandemic's over, and I eventually want to get back to the Yukon, and so that we still can share in our nation's business and help out as much as we can as well. And so thank you very much. Atlin to get you on. Juan.
Dwayne. We'll go to Atlin, the Atlin Rec Center. Is there any questions, comments there?
No, we don't have any question here in Atlin Rec Center.
Okay. Oh, we got some more members there in Atlin. Excellent. We'll go reach out to Carcross Tagish office. Any questions, comments from there?
No, we're pretty good here.
Okay, thanks, Roberta. Anybody in the Whitehorse office yet? Are we still quiet there in the Whitehorse office? Okay, as this grows, everything will grow, participation will grow, the word gets out, and you'll be amazed of how many people will eventually get online and join us. So we have a caller online. Woo! Sound just like bingo. Did you say Alex McKenna?
Alexa, yeah. Alex McKenna.
We'll go to the caller online here. Oh, excellent. Okay, you have to unmute press star to unmute. Oh, who's speaking? Oops.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello? Oh, hi,
Hello.
Bob. Good afternoon, Dakh-Ka. Shuatin Yuchat Biosalk, Dakh-Ka Ayachat, Teslin Kwan Ayachat. My name is Alex McKenna. My Tlingit name is Shuatin, and I am from Teslin Tlingit Council. I'm not sure if you can hear me, Bob. I'm watching you on video, but I've got my sound down.
Yeah, you're coming in real nice and clear, Alex.
Okay, good. First off, I'd just like to thank everybody for the opportunity to contribute to the discussion. I watched this morning session and this afternoon's, and I'm really enjoying this. Earlier, Dave had mentioned that my mother, Pearl Callahan, had a comment from the GC that to bring today. However, she's a busy elder, so she's in another meeting at the moment, and she asked me if I would carry out her message for her. She would like to see that the three nations work together on healing camps, and that this discussion is the place to plant that seed. She feels that this would really help our people to heal from the addictions and trauma and abuses. And she also recognizes that this is going to involve money, but we're able to do that. She asked me to add my own comments into this as well. So I'd just like to say that this is something that is really near and dear to my heart. And I have worked for many years in a variety of capacity with the various First Nations. One of my most recent jobs was I worked as a cultural support worker here in Whitehorse, and that was with all Yukon First Nations until that program ended last summer. One thing that I heard a lot was many of my generation and the younger ones have asked where our leadership is, because we're losing so many to addictions, and we all know that's rooted in the traumas. And to me, that shows that we're not in balance. And so I understand and I respect that our government stuff is really important. But I also feel that the healing aspect needs to have just as much attention and resources, if not more, right now. I'm just trying to read my notes here. So I know personally, and I'm not trying to promote myself for a job or anything here, but I have worked on a strategy in my own personal time for over a year, a healing strategy. And I really feel that I kind of based it on Yukon stuff, but the beauty of this Dakh-Ka is that maybe this is a start for it. I know that sometimes it seems like a daunting task, but I do know that we have the capacity within our First Nations. I really enjoyed watching Joan and Brian's journey last summer. I believe it was on the Dakh-Ka. And I've also had the pleasure of having my spirit replenished down at Geraldine and Charlie's in Touchai. So I know that we have the facilities and we have the resources amongst our people to move this forward. And I don't know, I know it costs money. And one thing that I wanted to bring up at our general council was when we looked at some of those dollars coming from our FTA, monies coming back from the federal government, I thought this would be maybe an opportunity to put some of that money back into our people now. I think that's it for now. And I just would like to say thank you for the opportunity to speak. And I'm enjoying this conversation. Ganesh Chish.
Ganesh Chish, thank you very much, Alex. I really appreciate your comments and your words there. Chantel, any follow-up?
Thank you so much, Alex. I really appreciate your comment. Health and social and healing for our communities is a really, really important role. It's the most important role. Some people may not know this, my background is actually social work. So I accidentally fell into the work of negotiating for my nation, which is not social work. It does not mean that those items are not so significant for our communities. Addictions are the pandemic. Substance abuse is the pandemic that our youth are facing right now. We've all lost someone. I lost my brother recently in October. These issues are so critical for our nation. And through nation rebuilding, some of what we want to get to, not in a roundabout way, maybe you don't see it directly on this, and it's because of resources. This is part of the call out to our nations, to our communities, to our people. Come and work with us. Come and help us. Come and support us. We can't do this alone. The only thing that we can focus on right now is some of the stuff that we have shared with you today, because it is in the work plan and the budget. Those are Western terms. I recognize and acknowledge that. But in a roundabout way, we hope to get to all of those important things, and you, the people, must guide us. You, the people, must keep us focused on what those important things are. And we really believe that returning to the land where all people have strength. We don't have weak people in our communities. All of our people are strong. They all have strength. They have just been disconnected from those things that make them strong. That does not mean they are weak. And we want to reaffirm and recognize the importance of that healing journey that all of our communities to take. We don't want any more young ones to go. We're all agreeing on that. So come and work with us and come and help guide us and come and help support us to do those things that are so close to our hearts. Help me be a social worker again through the work that we're doing. Gunta.
Chief, thank you very much, Chantel. Chief Morris, comment?
Yeah. Chief,
You need
I just wanted to also
you need a super hug.
also wanted to extend my gratitude to Alex for her participation today. And I know that, Alex, that you are a strong advocate for our people that struggle with addictions and traumas and all that you have mentioned. And I know that that one of the things that has been mentioned within our own government is about developing a healing strategy for ourselves. And that's one area I know that definitely needs a priority and it needs a focus. And I know, like, looking at it from a Three Nation perspective, it really makes a lot of sense that if we can come up with something that will be acceptable to our people that really need help, you know, it creates an opportunity for people to feel safe, people to feel that they will not be judged in any way or shape or form. And, you know, that'll be really, really something that'll be helpful. I know that one of the things that I think that you, like you say, you know, you've been a cultural support worker for, I think it was for Skookum Gym. You know, I think that experience alone lends a lot to some of the things that we're striving to do here or it's being planned to do. And I know that experience will lend a lot to that. And I know, like you say, you know, I think we need to begin to allocate resources to these kinds of opportunities. And I think we're going to be on the short end of the stick if we don't. And I definitely agree with your perspective on that. So Gunta to you.
Chief, thank you, Chief Morris. Chief Dixon, I hate to put you on the spot there, but any comment? Mr. Ward, I'll be coming to you next.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So Alex, also, I'm impressed with what Alex had said. I think a lot of us had kind of never really thought about the health and healing aspect of things moving forward. I think it is definitely needed, the health and healing for our communities. And a shared healing camp would also be a benefit for all of us. So I think that's an awesome idea. I don't think I have anything else to say. Finish, Chiefs.
Chief, thank you, Chief Dixon. This, yeah, when Pearl brought that message to the General Council, it really hit home. So, Mr. Ward, any comments? If not, I will go to Sandy Smart.
Just try to keep it brief. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for doing a good job. Make us look good. Anyways, I just want to show my appreciation to those hard workers that fed us today, and I thought it was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. And the little snacks I can go home with. It's all good memories we're building here. And it's good to see the people that I haven't seen for a while and share some time with, and also probably reminisce. I mean, like somebody said, we've been doing this work for quite a length of time. You know, how much we've progressed, or either individually or collectively. But I must, I spent 5 years myself in the social field with Council for Yukon First Nations and worked with all the Northern nations.
I'll follow your cue.
And I have to agree that this area that's being talked about is very important. There's a lot of things happened in our communities and outside of our communities during our formative years. Stuff happened that shouldn't have happened. Things, there are times when I thought my whole community was totally out of control. And I remember a time when somebody left us, passed on, it was like everybody woke up for a short period of time until that spirit took over again. Chief Morris mentioned spirits. I think we had been confronted with some real terrible spirits during those times. And we need to make a stand and push them back and confront those and heal together somehow. Now, I've done a lot of my own stuff. I'm a firm believer in God and His Word and so on. I was totally delivered, from having that faith. Now, it doesn't mean I should run around and push religion on anybody, but, it get me to a place where I start to understand and start to have compassion, start to demonstrate some sympathy and reach out a hand to help. And that's what it's going to take. We're going to have to help each other through this, day by day, one by one. There are no magic words. Like I said, I've worked 5 years in this field, looking for a magic bullet, looking for the right words. I've been to many conferences nationally, regionally, listened to many leaders in the communities, and hear the cry of our peoples in each of these communities. And it's just, can we take the time as individuals to just slow down and listen, reach out a hand and help? Sometimes just the littlest things can go so far. You'd be surprised at the feedback. That's been my experience, but I don't want to stop what I'm doing. It took me years to learn this stuff before I can really start to put it into practice and actually really mean what I say and know what I feel. Thank God, our elders brought us to where we're at. They went through these trials too. They weren't perfect, just like we know I'm not perfect. But through it all, they got us here where we are. And I'm really grateful for that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chief, thank you very much, John. Yes, we'll go to Sandy Smarch. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just wondering a little bit about how are we going to involve the youth in our organization, what we're trying to accomplish here. Just because, I hear this spring beaver hunt, and I was involved in the spring beaver hunts that went down the Teslin River that included Carcross and Atlin, and what a blast. What a blast we had that we had those, I remember the two girls I had there they were from Atlin, and had them in my boat, and they both had the opportunity to shoot at beaver and so. But some of the things like right now, what we're doing on March the 2nd, the kids from Teslin, I think there's some from Whitehorse, they're going on a 5-day bison hunt. They're going to go out there and witness shooting the bison, how to camp in the, out in the bush, and they're going with some of our game guardians are involved, and Bert Goodwin, I think, is involved. But some of the other stuff that we've set up for this fall is we're bringing a bunch of, we're just talking numbers now. We're going to bring some kids down the Southern River and show them the history of some of the old camps and some of the old cabins on the Southern River. And then we're going to do a beaver hunt. We're going to do medicine gathering. We're going to do whitefish net setting, cutting whitefish. If we happen to get a moose, we're going to try and dry it. You know, that's some of the other stuff, but we need to involve the younger generation. You know, because you know they're suffering too, because they're losing some of their friends to this alcohol and drugs, and you know, and right now we have 5 youth that sit on a youth council. They're a very, very big part of our government. You know, they have a chair in there. There's one from each clan, and they were adopted at general council. They have a big say so in our government. So I just wanted to talk about the youth, and maybe we can get together as three nations and do this moose hunt together. You know, because I know I'm going to be in there. That's my passion. I trapped probably for 35, 40 years of my life, and I only missed 2 seasons. You know, I got a screwed up hip and bad knee, but I still go. Sometimes just by myself. Trapped off South Canal for 8 years, just me up there. So we can all work together on a lot of things, and there are one things we can do. You know, I sit on the Renewable Resource Council. I've been there for 20 years. 20 years I've been talking about animals, trapping and fish and moose and outfitters and you name it. And we go after the government hard, boy, and getting some pretty good arguments with them about the way they do stuff on our land, and it affects all of us. So thank you very much for hearing me, and I do appreciate very much what you guys are doing. I think it's wonderful. Thanks again.
Sheesh. Thank you very much for that, Sandy. I'm going to ask Chantel or David or Roberta to respond to that about how we're going to get the youth involved. I've also been asked to, people are speaking to make sure they're speaking nice and clear into the microphone so our participants online and in the house can all hear. Very important conversation, and sometimes people are not hearing the full thing. Before I move to asking those things, I see an opportunity here. Our cook, Mike, from John Ward's comments. Mike, Mescal, and company. We really appreciate the lunch and the food and the snacks and looking after us so well. So goodness cheese. So I'll ask Chantel or David or Roberta. Anybody want to take that response? Charlie James. Hold on, Dave. We're going to go to Charlie James first in Carcross Tagish office.
Thank you, guys. Good afternoon. I hear you talk about spirituality, and you talk about bringing the youth together. And the last is Akusti, the 3 First Nations. we talk about a healing journey. The three First Nations paddled from Atlin to Carcross. In that time they spent together, those couple days it took to paddle that canoe. Carcross Tagish had a lot of youth there, and they said they want to do it again. But as we often put our youth down, I think we need to build them up. We need to give them some direction. And as we're talking about nation rebuilding, I think we need to be able to have a relationship with one another. And relationship to me is very important. How we talk to one another and how we treat one another. But when I hear Sandy talking about a hunt for the three First Nations, I'm on board for that. I feel just like him, that out there on the land, this is where we belong. This is where good decisions are made. I remember years ago sitting down with Virginia Smarts in Teslin, and she talks about Charlie. She when First Nations has difficulties coming to grips with problems that bother them, what do? And at the time, I didn't know how. She said, "You got it all in your head." She said, "The first thing you do is we go outside, we'll make a fire. Then we'll make some bannock, we'll make some tea, then we invite people to come. And the problem that you thought you had is answered around that campfire." And for me, I think as we move forward with the nation rebuilding, we need to walk shoulder to shoulder and take on each other's burdens, and also bring the youth along. And we are going to make it. I know we've talked about this for many years, and we're going to walk that road together. And the three First Nations are going to be proud of who they are. That's who we are. We're proud First Nation, and we want to uphold each and every one. Goodness Chief.
Good Sheesh. Thank you very much, Charlie. We're going to go to Pembroke, Ontario here first, and then try to get as many questions in, so then our team up here, then they can kind of run through them all. So hello, Mr. Dwayne Aucoin.
Hello.
Go ahead, sir.
You can hear me? Okay.
Nope.
I just wanted to say Gunchish to Pearl and to Alex for bringing this up. It's very important. One thing we're talking about in Teslin is developing a healing strategy for our community. But maybe we should also be looking at a healing, like Alex had mentioned, a healing strategy for our inland Tlingit Nation, so that we're all working together on this. 2018, we were developing our language and culture. The Oversight Committee was developing the implementation plan for our Language and Culture Act. And we had actually a lot of people from our brothers and sisters from Atlin and from Carcross join us to help us in this work. And also our brothers and sisters from Dakh-Ka from Alaska help us with this. Language and culture, Tlingit Yukatangi Kahashagun, is what our elders have told us. That's where we're going to find our healing. That's where we're going to find to restore our balance within us. And so I'm sure we'd be more than happy to share our implementation plan with the rest of our inland Tlingit Nation, because the more we do work like this with our language and culture, that's where we're going to find our healing and our strength and build our foundation. So, Gunchish.
Sheesh, thank you very much for that, Dwayne. Mr. David Keenan. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much, Bob. Appreciate the opportunity. Sure, we can address the issue about how we're going to be involving youth. as a part of this system of going from community to community and reaching out to elders and youth, there's going to be a special focus on the youth, and the youth are going to be in a session just like this, particularly the youth, and to share with them what they see and what they feel. So we're giving them the opportunity. We're also giving the opportunity to them with the elders and the youth to come together. As we spoke about earlier this morning, about restoring those traditional roles and identifying those traditional roles, and then making space for them to be able to enjoy that and to start to initiate that. So that is happening this summer, and hopefully it'll be in a more springtime type of setting, and we'll be able to be really interactive because hopefully it's going to be on the land. At the General Council on Saturday, there was a young lady that spoke about being on those beaver hunts and spoke about the goodness and the enjoyment and the memories that she shared. And for goodness sake, I don't want to get Louise going again on this one, but she has a granddaughter that was on that hunt. And that little granddaughter still speaks about the goodness and what you shared with them, Sandu. So it's those people on the ground, just little kids that are starting to learn. And that takes me back to how I started to learn in my culture and how to do things on the land. And I was so fortunate that I was one of them that didn't have to go to a residential school or to a boarding school. And there were very few of us children left in the community, very few of us. So they used to gather us, my Uncle Jim. He used to get us. He was so lonely for his own that he used to take his nieces and his nephews, and he'd take us across the lake and he'd teach us. After school, he'd wait patiently for us to get out at 3:30, walk across some 12 miles to Grayling Creek, and then he'd show us how to set a beaver trap. And the thing we'd be guaranteed that night is we'd have a dinner of either beaver meat or link meat cooked against that old half stove there. And that's how we learned. And that's the advantage that we have over younger people now, because we are going to look at the actions that come from these meetings are going to be actions, and they're going to be implemented. They're not going to be talked about, because this body is going to give us the authority as to how do you do this type of stuff? How do you all come together? On a spring beaver hunt, it's easy, but we do have to look into the future and to say, how do you structure constitutionally? Dakh-Ka. How do you do that? So those are in the back of our mind, and these are terrific seeds that are going to make us really succeed at the top level, because we're starting right on the ground, and you're starting with Hakusi'i. And so that's how we plan on incorporating them in, as the steering committee and the advisory committee, and creating some time for them and space for elders to get together. And it will be done ahead of time with the Elders Council, the Youth Council, making presentation. But it is time for action, and that's what's going to happen. So thanks for bringing that up, Sandy.
Thank you very much for that, David. I'd just like to read out, oops, darn it. I'm touching buttons again here.
Hello.
Thank you.
I just wanted to make a quick comment. I know that one of the things that we're having a bit of a challenge with is just getting our youth council and our community, in our government here, getting them up and started and supported. And so that's been a bit of a challenge, but I think beyond that, and I think a national youth body, maybe not so much a council, but just a national youth body that gets together, that can do things together, I think would be really, really helpful. And because I think sometimes when we title things and we say it's a council, then it really sounds like it's a structure, and we just want them to get together, a national youth body of sorts that they can get together and help and talk with and speak with each other and have fun together. And I think it's something that would be really, really good for us. So, Chief.
Thanks for that, Chief. I'm going to read into a comment here that we got online. This kind of rolls into our Q&A portion, but it also talks about the community engagement and stuff like that, and how we're going to be engaging. But I got a message here from Susan Carlick, and I feel we need to get working groups established with representatives from our staff and upper management to identify potential projects in each of the priority areas. Each nation take the lead on one of the priorities. Working teams needed to get to work in the initiatives where they are committed and to cooperating. My main concern is that we spend too much time talking, which is mostly what we have done for all the years. Get work teams set up and get working on things that matter to all 4 of our communities. Then I would like to hear from the working teams at least every 6 months. And of course, we would all have an opportunity to be engaged in the activities in the meeting for keeping our projects going. So thank you very much, Susan Carlick, for that. I wanted to pass those messages along to the team. Don't know if there's any response. Dave's kind of spoken to some of that there of how they're going to be committed in working groups, and that the message is pretty clear coming across from everybody that we just need to get work started and get going. So I appreciate the comments, and right now we'll move into our community engagement, and Blair can talk to us about how we can continue to keep engaged. And then I want to open the floor again to on citizens open forum there, and talk to citizens, more citizens, and hear from other people of their ideas of how we can continue this engagement, and maybe some suggestions for the teams that we could take back. So Mr. Blair Hogan.
So I think it was really spoke to quite a bit already on what the engagement to expect, that this is the first big public open house. We plan on having a few more of these over the next 6 to 12 to 18 months, trying to get as many people to talk about these big issues. But then we're going to have smaller groups. We want to embed into Hakusti. We want to be able to, Sandy mentioned this hunting camp. We would love to be able to coordinate and support and piggyback off of those efforts, because we're all, I think what we're saying here is that we don't all have to do things in silos, that we can do things collectively and do them better. And that's kind of what we're here to support. So anything that any suggestions, any ideas, we do want to have a number of these types of engagements. We're just looking for the best way to do it. How do we showcase what's most important to the Tlingit country? What's most important to each of those communities, and how do we bring that together? So that's what our role is here. And so we're just kind of encouraging just to hear any of your suggestions, and we are hearing it. I wanted to repeat that. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Blair. Comments there, Chief?
Yeah, sure. I know, just in relation to Susan's recommendations, I think those are really helpful recommendations. Like one of the things that I actually had been thinking about is looking at, the whole area of being able to have opportunities created for our game guardians to spend some time together that are from that work in Teslin, that could possibly spend some time with some of the game guardians from Carcross Tagish, and as well as TRTFN, just spending time together, going out on patrols and just having a look at the land, learning about the land that's there, and sharing some information with each other. I think this creates opportunities of being able to look at how they can work together in those specific areas. In terms of looking at some of the work that's happening around health or whatever it might be, being able to have some time to spend with each other in terms of the staff that are within our departments. But it's just being able to look at what that looks like in terms of what our staff already do for us within our governments. But it's also needs to take some planning to make that happen. And I think that's a really worthwhile area to look at. The other thing that I had mentioned was sometimes we don't have the workers we need to be in our community to do some of the jobs that we have. So you could look at secondments, like the governments do. The governments do secondments within their governments, and why can't we do that? Second somebody from TRTFN or CTFN to come and do some work for us for 6 months or whatever it might be, So those are kind of opportunities that can be created by us just being able to get together like that, and I think that's really worthwhile. And so just wanted to thank Susan for those comments.
Chief. Thank you, Chief Morris. Is there any other comments, suggestions out there we could take away to the working group on engagement? Georgina, he put you on the spot. Any comments or ideas? You're good right now? Kayushi, Wilma, I know you had some things there this morning there and talking about engagement. So good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You know, that's all I can say. And I think it's so important for us all to get back into our Tlingit language. And to start that off, I would like to start seeing people use their Indian name. You know, our language is a very hard language to learn. And if we start using our Indian names and just saying what I just said, that would be a beginning. And another thing is when we used to go fishing with my Uncle Billy, Nashok, Billy Johnson, we used to catch our fish and then we'd bring it back. We'd have it all cleaned up. And then he would tell us, you know, now you got to share everything. So we'd go around and deliver fish to everybody. And picking berries, we all went together. Auntie Daisy, Auntie Mrs. Bobby, Uncle Billy, my brother Joe, and we picked for the day, and then we all shared that together. And that is something I really, really miss. And in that time, we always just used our first language. And we have to start somewhere. And once we get the language under control, I think that'll be a time for a new beginning for everything. Kunishish.
Kunishish. Thank you, Koshi. Dayak, just in case you were wondering. I'll open it up there to any members there in any of the hubs or online. Just go ahead and raise your hand there and we'll get you patched through. I'd also like to recognize our people that have joined us today, and I wanted to, as promised, we'll share that with you. We have Wesley Barrett, Michelle Williams, Jade McGinty, Evelyn and Kira Shea, Folbar, and I apologize for butchering some names here. Jocelyn Barrow, pardon me? Oh, Jocelyn Barrow, New York City, wow. Deborah Barrow, Valerie Tija, Michelle Williams, Tracy Camilleri, Charlie James, Derek and Bill Barrett over in Carcross Tagish office, Clara Anderson, Dwayne Coyne, Myra Benoit, Pearl Callahan was online, Susan Carlick, Cherish Clark, Immune Dawson, Barb Dawson, Vincent Esquire, Brian Jack. Oh, hey, Brian. Hi, Joan. Worked with Joan. It was fun. Rita Johns, George Kirby, Rice Kirby, Logan Law, Alex McKenna, Brenda Reeves, Rose Sellers, James Smith, Elizabeth Steele, and Joanne Williams. And there's also Loretta, and we had the Georges. Remember the Georges this morning? Shauna Yeomans and Alex, I think I mentioned Alex, and Caitlin O'Shea. So even though this room looks empty here in Teslin, we have a lot of participation going on right now. And I really hold my hands up to you guys for joining us and participating in the conversations today. And oh, and there's even more. Tara Williams, Emily Fairclough, Shirley McLean, Randy Kelleher, Barb Dawson, I mentioned, Immune Dawson, George Esquire, Vincent Esquire, Chief Linda Dixon, I don't know how to say that name, Shaw Desi, Rita Johns, and I think I talked about Jean-Paul for the TRT office and joining John. Georgina Lowe was with us, Ralph, I didn't provide a last name. Ali Carlick. Remember Ali this morning there? Ali stayed with us all day. June Jack, also in the TRT hub, and James Williams. So a really great turnout, I think. You know, like I got 47 count on my sheet here plus. So that's a really great turnout, and appreciate you guys taking time out in your day and joining us. And we will get this stronger and continue that. So I would open the floor to anyone, anybody raising their hand or calling in. Jess? I like these updates because it really brings it whole of who's participating with us, and, you know, and the importance of this work that you guys are undertaking. So, is there any other questions, comments? And their suggestion box, is there a general email or a general contact for these citizens out there that they can send in, you know, like after we hang up and say, hey, boy, I got a suggestion for that group. So that email contact is admin@guntabusiness.com. We'll get that. And Lynn Gagnon. Okay, I didn't get any of that.
Use the mic.
How do I refresh this? I have another comment online, but I don't know how to bring it up. Oh, Michelle Williams. So this is from Michelle Williams. I have a question of how are we involving the people who are not elders or youth? Are there ideas to get those people together? Are there ideas to get those people together? So that was part of the engagement there, Michelle, is, you know, and that's what I was asking here, you know, like we got to have a ground there to send in our comments, and then the continuation of these engagements and gathering people together is we're going to continue doing it Zoom with some meeting hubs. I think we'll continue with the regular meeting hubs at the Atlin and the Whitehorse office and the Carcross Tagish office. And we also have, we'll be having it here in our Teslin buildings. We do have a caller online there from the Atlin hub, Jean-Michel or Jean-Paul, in our secondary hub in Atlin. Go ahead, sir. Who do you have for us?
Vernon, the clan leader for the Coconuts in Atlin. I heard a little bit about it, people talking about going on the river for the next meeting. You know, I know the Dakh-Ka River, off and on, we had meetings down there. And we invited people down there to come down with us. To see all these people catching fish or whoever they're bringing it home to, you should see their expressions on their face when they're pulling the net in, you know, on how much fish we're catching and what they're going to do with this fish and give it to the people they care about. The reason why I'm talking about the fish downriver is because Dakh-Ka was providing fish to the 3 nations that are here for the past 5 years, from what I could probably understand. I'm talking this way because I'm really down in my time on the land. I've been down on the Dakh-Ka for roughly 40 years. And we all know the land that we go on takes a toll on our body. You know, the lifestyle we choose to live takes a big toll on our body with arthritis. We got knee problems. But what I'm trying to touch bases with is, you know, all the healing we want to do with the young people. Well, the Dakh-Ka River, we got lots of commercial license down on the river. You know, and there's a lot of times I had females working with me, and they were really good workers, you know. And I have two daughters down there that fish alongside of me, and my younger brother, Stephen. You know. But now, as time has gone by, they all grew up and they're starting to take things on what they need to do to make their life successful. I know I'm running out of time of going on the land. Pretty soon I might be confined to my house because of my health. But in order to speak like this, we need the younger generation to come down and participate on catching fish for your communities, like the way some of our fishermen down there that have always did commercial or food fishing for you people in Teslin and Carcross and Tagish. You know, I would love to see us, if we're saying we're one nation, well, how come we can't share all this, these licenses that we have downriver to show the government that we're still down there on our territory, even though it's the only way we can get there is by river or by air or walk. You know? To have younger generation go down there and experience the whole summer down on the river, not just 1 week. It's pretty hard to experience a lot of stuff that goes on down on that river. Because every time I go down there, I'm down there for the whole summer. The only place I go to is Juneau to buy my food and gas, and maybe to sell fish. And the Juneau celebrations for the past 5 years, we were catching food fish and bringing it to the celebration, and bringing it to Sandy Point, and inviting everybody down there to have salmon from the Dakh-Ka. They could catch the same salmon on the American side, but to light up our elders' eyes when they see the smoked salmon we're bringing them, you can't get any money for what the experience they gave you. And again, you know, I would love to see some young women, men that are having trouble with their addictions, who try to approach some of us fishermen to try to change their lifestyle. You know? Because again, speaking like this, that I have to leave something behind that I really love to do, and that's to be a fisherman. I know my youngest daughter has, she never thought that she was going to be taking up the reins that I was doing for the past 40 years. Now she's doing the same thing. And it's the same thing with Cherish when she said that she didn't know she was going to be doing this. She says it a lot. For the past couple of meetings that I've seen her, she's been saying, you know, I didn't know I was going to be representing my nation on how to gather up information such as what we're doing now. So I really hold my hands up to her because she's going through such a difficult time of grieving for her brother. And the same with me. I didn't know her brother very well, but I do miss him a lot. You know? And you know, this is why I speak strongly on cemeteries, on how we leave our names behind, and how we're going to pass it to the next generation. You know? We need to do that. We need the younger generation to listen and hear us, because we need their involvement. And how are we going to open the door for them to come and join us, such as the young generation that's trying to do the same. So with this fishing business that I got downriver, you know, I usually put 3 or 4 boats going on the river, but now I'm only got 1. But I still got all this equipment. You know, I need to make it use so I can catch fish for my brothers and sisters that are from different nations, and that we all say we're one. You know? Even in Juneau, the people that are on the street come up to me and say, you guys are no different than us. The only difference that you are is you're inland Tlingit, and we're coastland. I know Juneau doesn't have a road going to it, and a lot of people end up in Juneau and they have nowhere to go. And they have the same kind of addictions as our younger people have up here. And when they see us come around and give fish to them, they feel pretty proud. I had a couple of females come down to the harbor while me and my two daughters were slowly getting ready to go upriver. And they were watching us putting on all our clothes, wondering why we're getting so bundled up. And we told her, every time you go around to each point to go to the Dakh-Ka, it gets colder because of the glaciers that the Dakh-Ka winds blow. And we're going upriver, and that's us going up the river. I often tell my two daughters, there's hardly any difference between our ancestors and us nowadays. And the only difference is we got engines to go back and forth. And they used a sail and a canoe to go back and forth. I was really happy to be part of that canoe going down to Juneau because they need help to make it through the flats. Because going through the flats, you could be stuck there for days. And they were lucky that we were able to make it to the celebration. And it's because they listened to the person that was on the river for like 10 years straight. You know, when you leave your love of your country for a little while, things change. Mother Nature changes things for us. You know, look what happened down to Dakh-Ka over the winter, a big mudslide. The whole mountain slid. You know, how is it going to affect us as salmon people? You know, this year is really, really important on us that we take care of that, because I believe that we are salmon people. And how do we pass that on when there's no young generation come banging on my door and say, I want to go down? You know, I don't care if you're a female or a younger or an older person than me. If your health is capable of doing those things, I'm willing to help you. You know, and I need your help so we can provide fish for all of our nations. And it'll make me feel really proud if a young female from a different nation went and brought 1,000 pounds of fish to their people and said, here you go. We had a lot of experience on the Dakh-Ka on catching this fish for you people. Because I felt that. I felt it every year when those planes were coming to get their fish. I asked the pilot, where is this fish going? They told me, Carcross, Teslin. And all your names are on those toll boxes when they weigh them up. So we make sure that you guys get your 100 pounds or whatever amount of fish you want. I know Dakh-Ka wild is important to us, but Dakh-Ka wild, I gotta let them know that, us fishermen are along here, we were here a lot longer than Dakh-Ka wild. If all of us fishermen could make it before Dakh-Ka wild became a business and took over the reins, well, they need to know that they got to recognize us as fishermen and fishing women that go down there and do this every year. We do this every year, whether it's a tough time down there, when we don't catch very, very little. Sometimes people think we make lots of money down there, and all we do is break even sometimes. But a lot of times I go down there is because I want to let the government know that they can't take Tlingit territory away from us. We're using it to catch food fish for our people. And our negotiating people, like the meeting we're having today, this is why I go down there. This is why I catch fish for food fish, is so everybody can know that the Tlingits are using their territory. So I'm really glad that, You know, we always do this meetings and, you know, we've got the new technology that we could Zoom back and forth and talk with each other. We need to do this more, and we need to invite the younger generation once the COVID is lifted, and then we can gather more people in a room. My heart is with all of you guys on how you guys conduct yourself, and the way my grandma tells me, and she's from a different clan, that you speak from your heart. And once it comes out of your lips, you can't take it back because everybody hears it. So again, you know, it's very important on what you say before you say it, because once it's out, you can't take it back. So again, you know, I really want to see the nations come and ask us on how they can help us catch the salmon, because we do need hope. Finish, Cheese.
Thank you very much, Dayak. You know, one of the things we do have, it is wonderful technology. We need to get a better microphone there in the TRT office there so we can hear everything really clear. And yeah, proud of your daughter, and I love the Taku River. It was an honor to be working for the Taku River Tlingit First Nation and helping them with some of their work around the Taku River and the challenges they were having with mining operations. Mr. Richard Sidney, comment?
Yeah. We have excellent mics in this meeting. I'm sitting like this over here. Blair come over and says, your pen's making noise over the system. I didn't realize these were live. That was really good. It was sure good to hear from all the communities. And the comments, the discussion really has been really, really positive. Just want to say that further to the meeting that we had earlier, where the leadership came together and endorsed the direction we were taking, I think it was really, really positive. We're back here again and we're talking about rebuilding again what we've started. I don't really see it as being rebuilding. Essentially, it's reaffirming our nation. The discussion that we had was really, really positive. I mean, the recommendations that we made, we've heard before, but I think really is a strong message to leadership to begin to work together and look at issues like joint healing programs, for instance, that we heard discussed. The issue around the joint youth gathering, for instance, the youth should be priority is a powerful message, really a powerful message. That there should also be an elders gathering and recommit to our knowledge keepers, because there are knowledge keepers, that they are indeed a priority and they are indeed important. And that we understand what they provide for us and what they're willing to offer. The recommendation came forward that there should be one overall healing camp for our nation. We should have that camp set up, and that's more centralized, where all our people can have access to that camp. We have beautiful territory. We've all taken the initiative of setting up different types of camps. We've used hunting camps in the past. We've never done a language camp yet, from what I understand, with the exception of one that was done in Carcross. It would be nice to have something that's gathering with people again. Like the gathering here is really positive. And for us to maintain that momentum, I think we'll have to get all our people involved in all areas of our government. I think the priority with respect to the healing, the social assistance or the help that we require on the social side, we should not lose sight of. And that really is critically important for us, given where we're at with respect to COVID, given where we're at with respect to this pandemic. I mean, we have people in Teslin right now giving out food. They're in Whitehorse right now, and you know, we talk about our land monitors working together, and we should go beyond just the land monitors. I mean, they're doing an excellent job. And it was Carcross that actually came forward and they started coming over further and further. And pretty soon they're having coffee with the boys and going out and dropping in the office. That was so positive. And that was without any direction at all. I mean, that's the type of commitment that we need from all of our governments and the services we provide. For me, the strongest message that I got today is that there really is no overlap in our territory. And that was amazing to hear that message. That it was a shared land. All we do is we manage that land that we have some responsibility for. And I heard it before from the elders that it's not our land. It was just placed here by a Dakh-Ka to look after it. And then for me, that really is a strong message that there is no overlap, that we only have one territory. We have one people. We have one language that's spoken on that land. The overall approach that we're taking with the consultation, and Blair and I were having some discussion earlier about how many people we anticipate showing up, was really positive to have you list how many of our people participate.
Yeah, like,
I mean, it's just amazing, you know, that we reach out and we can touch our people that way and, you know, let them know that they're important. I remember the elders telling us that all they need is somebody that they could talk to. We may not need anything. All we need is a little company. And for us to reach out to our people wherever they are, let them know that we're here. If they ever need anything, we'll be there to help. I mean, that is so positive, the approach that we're taking. The recommendation to have working groups, I think, again, was a really positive recommendation. And from here on, I think we need to have a roadmap in place. That there's milestones that we're going to be watching for, and that'll be used to measure our success. I mean, we heard from some of the people today that we've heard this before. We've talked about it for many years. Let's recommit ourselves to doing something this time a little more than what we've done in the past. And I think that's the message that we come away from that, for me anyway, from this meeting, that's what the people want. And that the youth be priority, language be priority, and that our people will be priority. And for me, you know, that really is, that's what the intent was, to, again, have a reconfirmation of who we are as a people, who we are as a nation. It was amazing when we look at how we come together. It was really good at celebration when they all came together and they tied those boats together. It was unbelievable. I mean, from the shore, you watch that come in. It was so powerful. I mean, what other message do we need? That we are one people. And we should be doing more than just what we're doing now. I mean, what we're doing is absolutely amazing for our people. But we can do better, I think, if we come together in a lot of areas. Because we're challenged. There is no, it is no secret that government would like to take our land. People are taking what we have right now with respect to our resources. And it's up to us to ensure that there's something in place for the future. That's our responsibility. Got to make sure that the future generations will be given some assurance that they'll enjoy life as good, if not better, than we enjoyed it. And it's up to us to achieve that this time out. So I like the rebuilding approach, but it's actually reconfirming what we have in place already and bringing that forward and making it a priority. I know from the government's perspective, you know, with CTF and TRT, they have huge issues they're working with. The same with TTC. But I think we're going to have to refocus some of our attention on our resources to looking at how we can come together collectively. We've heard that message so many times from our elders, you know, and I always think about my brother Doug. I always tell us, unite and become one. Unite and become one. And, you know, this wonderful meeting, I sure enjoyed it, and I just want to let you know what I've picked up so far. I don't have any questions per se in regards to what's happening here or there. I just want to believe that we're going to continue to work together. I want to believe that leadership is going to take this initiative and move with it, and that some of the concerns that were expressed about the healing, about the social component helping our people, about the youth being priority, that language is so critically important for us, and that we have to work together as a people, as a nation. My brother George had to go home today because he wasn't feeling good this afternoon. Well, it was so good to see him here. We had some business in the Yeti clan that we had to deal with. It was so hard to deal with it. But I talked to him about it today, and it was just amazing that we come together as Yeti, and we work together yet. And it's without understanding that there's a Dakh-Ka in place. And we still work together. So those are the comments I want to make about what I've observed and what I heard, and it's so good for me to hear that. And, it's so good to hear all the people that have participated. You know, and the next one, hopefully we'll come to the next one with something in place that we can respond to, like a plan, like some milestones that we can look at. I think would be so positive. So I'll say good
Nishish. Thank you, Richard. It's 20 to 4. You know, that kind of concludes our meeting today. We did receive some very clear messages on, you know, I think the team has some clear instructions. They've got a lot of, we got a clear message from all the participants that we need to continue this work, make this a priority. As Ali says, you know, like just do it and let's get going And so I'm hoping that we don't have a next meeting date set. And that's unfortunate because it'd be nice to, with all these participants online, that we could maybe get that information out as quick as we can, so we can, continue the flow here with the momentum of all these people joining us and participating in the meeting. So if there wasn't anything else, I do want to say, I do have the draws ready for the tickets that were handed out. And good to be Taku River Tlingit this afternoon, because that's, if they are ticket number, lucky number 7 that was handed out in-house, they would have a clean sweep of the prizes. So I'll announce our winners: a $50 gift card, June Jack. Congratulations, June. $50 Visa gift card to Valerie Tija. Hello, Miss Valerie. $50 gift card to Vincent Esquire. Congratulations, Vincent. And the big winner this afternoon is Michelle Williams, $250 Visa gift card. And I also got a message from Dwayne that after hearing that Jocelyn there online there that was joining us from New York City, she's their furthest person away participating in the meeting. So thanks, Dwayne. And I'm going to give his earlier prize to her to make, because she is the furthest away. No, Allie.
I can't get her connected.
Oh, that's too bad. Is there any closing comments there from the team? You guys got your marching orders for the next meeting? Any closing comments from leadership? We kind of got our marching orders for the next meeting. George has his hand up on Zoom.
Do you want to take George first?
Yeah, we'll go to George first.
George, give me a second. And he's on the.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Cook Dayon Tutin, Hashuka, Te Yuk Kuda. As you all know me, I'm George Kirby, Yanyeti, Taku Kwan Wolf Clan. Yayuwa Hit is my house of birth, origin. Yitsati Yakuz, Billy Williams was our house leader. I think it's beautiful what's going on there. I think it's just great bringing these 3 nations together and working united together as one. I hear comments from previous speakers about our youth and our people. I'd love to see as much energy as possible put towards our youth and our people. These political bodies that we create in order to find our way or to make ourselves better, they're good, but we seem to create many of them. And yet our people and our elders, some still today, are in need of care. They are in need of our help. So I would ask that if any funding that you do have or get to create this organization, that a percentage of it go directly to the youth, to start up a youth group to engage in this matter here that we're dealing with today, as well as our elders. The youth, our people, and our elders are our government. I know myself as Yanyeti from the Taku Kwan, I will never ever surrender my ancestral birthright title to my ancestral homeland. That is my responsibility to ensure that all Tlingit people of all clans have access to that territory for generations to come. As I've spoken before to people at Taku River Tlingit First Nation, I'm opposed to the BCTC process. I would ask that you suspend it immediately. It's a colonial land grab is all it is. I have much information to share with our people in regard to the international arena that some of us are going to. in order to attain some form of justice from the colonial governments that have been trespassing and stealing from us since they've arrived. Section 92 under provincial law is not legal, moral, or ethical allowed to apply their assumed jurisdiction within our unceded territories, our ancestral homeland. I would ask that this group that you've created file a class action lawsuit against the governments of Canada for illegal trespass and theft of the resources for which they've stolen from our territory. The other day, I was reading some information in regard to how they got access to the mineral in our territory. Our great leader, Taku Jack, he offered some land to the priest. He took that land, and then that same priest, he arranged for all the miners to go and steal our gold. We need to be compensated for that. All Tlingit people need to be compensated for all that theft. That's where your energy could go. As far as the treaty process, dump it, drop it. That land will always remain Tlingit land forever. I have my daughters asking me now, Dad, who are we? Are we Dakh-Ka River Tlingit First Nation? I said, no, you're not. You are Yenyeti Yetki, child of Yenyeti. Your children are Yenyeti Dakh-Ka, grandchildren of Yenyeti. I hold my history. I hold our people. I hold our ancestors with deep, deep respect. We need healing within our communities. I see that. I know it. I acknowledge it. That's where your money should be going, to our youth, to our people, and to our elders. We have too many political groups attempting to attain justice when we already have title to our territory. All we need to is assert that authority within our ancestral homelands. And I mean to offend nobody. I appreciate all the efforts that you're doing, but please slow down. We need to heal. We need to put money towards healing our people. Silver Salmon has cabins. There are cabins all over our territory. Maybe put some money into that and get our people together so they can discuss this issue. Because what you're proposing to do here is going to affect and impact future generations. So we have to be cautious. I would ask you to slow down and take your time and discuss this matter that you're proposing with more of our people before you carry on. With deepest respect to all, Gunta Cheese.
Thank you, George. So that's, did you have a final comment? Did you have a closing comment there, Mr. Ward? Ms. Dixon and Chief Morris? And then we'll do, and then I want to go to Atlin Hub, Ali Carlick, and then we'll have a closing prayer by Anant Lahash. Mr. Ward, go ahead, sir.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. I just want to express my gratitude to Teslin Tlingit Council for hosting us here and having me on their land, and with Chantel and supporting us.
John, we can't hear you.
Sorry. I just expressing my gratitude, especially to the Teslin Tlingit Council for hosting this meeting and having Chantel and I here and taking good care of us. I also want to express my gratitude to the IT experts, you know, that provide a way for people to have their voice in this type of meeting. And I'm really grateful for our steering committee who is doing, I think, is an exceptional job. I noticed by the presentation today that they have heard the things that were said from the previous meeting and have followed up quite well. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Cheesh. Thank you, John. Linda Dixon, Kashadahani, closing comments? Is she
Just
still
a
online?
couple.
Yes, yes,
Just
go
a
ahead.
couple, please. I would like to say thank you for all of the hard work for the working groups that we do have. I think it's one step closer to where we want to go. There's a couple of things that I think we should, as First Nations, to go back and work hard on our youth council, trying to get our youth council set up so they can have forums and can have their own meetings. They will be the leaders one day of our First Nations. So I think it's important that we try and get them included as much as possible. And it seems like there's a little more clear direction. Each meeting that we have, there's a little more clear direction on moving forward as the Dakh-Ka Nation and the working group. I think it sounds, the healing camps, I think, is something that we need to look forward to this summer. The youth gatherings, the elder gatherings, and there is a way we can do it even though we're in COVID times, I feel. I know our elders in Carcross here are feeling very left out. And they really want to have meetings once again. They miss that interaction. So just moving forward, it'll be nice to find out when the next meeting is going to be. But I think these meetings like this are just going to get better. And I once again thank everybody for the hard work that everybody's doing. Thank you, Kanish.
Kanish, thank you very much, Chief Dixon, and our host, Nashada Honey Morris.
Chief, Bobby, thank you very much for your work on this, and you've been really, really helpful in helping us to get through this. And this is not going to be the last time, you know, that we are able to do this. And as been mentioned, I think it's really important, as Bobby has mentioned, that we have a clear idea when the next gathering will be, so that those that have been able to engage over this day here will be able to look forward to further discussion and sharing more thoughts about their reflections on what we've been able to talk about today. You know, I think about where we're going and where we're heading, and the thought that came to my mind when they were talking about tying our three canoes together. I know that in our culture we have those that are that have the gift of making songs and putting songs together. You know what I think about? I think that there should be a song put together that speaks about how we've tied our canoes together, and how in that song that it would talk about how we've put our sails up and that we're capturing the strength of the wind to carry us to where we are going. We need somebody that could put a song together for us like that. That'll be really great, and we could sing it, and we can celebrate, and we can have a darn good time. You know, I think about all of the things that we've talked about today, and how enlightening it is, you know, and it's about the strength that we have when we get together, the strength that we have when we're sitting with each other. You know, there's a desire for us to sit around the campfire, and there's a desire for us to eat together. There's a desire for us to be able to celebrate together, and all of that is very real, and it's in front of us, and we can make it happen. And we got to commit to ourselves, and as also mentioned, reaffirm that commitment to ourselves that we are going to do it. You know, I just think of things. I'm one for hanging on to sayings that I come across that are really useful to what I do in my life. And one of the things that I came across is that when we're discussing a lot of what we're discussing, you know, I have this one written down. It says, you change the things you can and you manage the things you can't. You know, and sometimes the undertaking that we have, we look around and we're changing things, but we're not, all things are changing. So we think we're failing in a sense, but not really. What we're able to do is we're able to manage the things that we can change. You know, and I think about the whole aspect of healing, you know, and I wrote down here the art of letting go. You know, sometimes it's difficult to let go of those hurts and those pains and those traumas and those difficult times that we've been through. But at some point, we have to let it go. So I wrote down this wherever I saw it. I wrote it down, the art of letting go. We have to learn how to do that. Let go of the things that have held us back. You know, and I often think of our leaders in the past, and I think of our national chief at one time, Sean Atlin. He addressed the Yukon College graduates one summer here in Whitehorse, and he said, you know, he talked about the responsibility that we have to all that we do in our homelands, and he talked about how sometimes we have to ask ourselves, if there's a job to be done, or if there's something to be taken on, a task to be responsible for. He said, if not you, then who? And then the other one that he had to that is, if not now, then when? And right now, I think, is the time, has been mentioned. This is the now is now, and today is today. And I think we've begun that journey. We've flung open that door to the work that we are setting forth to do. And I tell you, it looks glorious. And I want it to stay that way. I want it to be that way. And I want us to finish that way. So I'm looking forward to the days ahead, the work ahead, and I'm very happy for what we've been able to do. So I give you great thanks and appreciation for all of that effort.
Thank you very much, Chief Morris. So let's continue with this Zoom meeting and zoom all the way down to Atlin Rec Center, where Ali is standing by. Ali wants to, she has another song for us this afternoon, and then we'll go to Anakalahosh for a closing prayer after that. So hello, Ali.
Hi, I just wanted to give a few closing comments first. I'm very, very pleased with all the talk and discussion around healing. It is totally the best place to start. And there's a See Alaska app for the Tlingit language. It will teach you how to pronounce it. And I know we use different dialects, but one of these days we'll use the Tlingit Nation dialect. And another place to start would be for each First Nation to complete their human resources inventory. So we can know what each person can contribute. A lot of times people they don't like to boast, or they don't like to tell people all the things they can do. So instead of doing it this way, we could put it down on human resource inventory. And then if each First Nation needs somebody, they can check the human resource inventory of each First Nation and get help that way. And everybody's speaking about the youth. For us here in Atlin, I know you guys do your spring beaver hunt for your youth, but here in Atlin, we've been bringing somebody in to teach our youth trail building. So, and we never have enough workers. So another way we can work together, get our youth together, is if we let you guys know when we're doing some trails here, and then you can send some youth over from Carcross and from Teslin. That's all I have to say for now.
Chief, you have a song or closing song for us, Ali?
I sure will. Gunas chish dikion kawu. Gunas chish dikion kawu. We love you more each day. We love you more in every way. Gunas chish dikion kawu. Gunas chish for giving us a soul. Dikion kawu to help us reach our goal. Gunas chish dikion kawu. Gunas chish arms up. Goodness geez, goodness geez, goodness geez.
Goodness geez, Shelley. Goodness geez. Love you, girl. I miss you.
Miss you all too. Miss everybody. Oh.
We're going to get our bus on the road. Thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate allowing me to come in and help facilitate your guys' meeting today. Maybe you'll have me back. We'll see. And Anaklahash, closing prayer, my friend.
Kian cow, gonna cheese, Achsati, gonna cheese, Ekadin, was good to the Adi. It was a case to cut that Kennedy and teach Achsati, eat a stockadity. I can stay, Sean one. Yahaku, the Dakh-Ka, on Tlingit, Kitten, so wishing Jinaktudane. Utisaku, Adakaktea. Ayat kasane, adashan kasane, kitten wushines jigaktane, yada asil kohas, adas Christiach nakatiach sati. Tisiku itwara khet kakati, gunas cheese sati, gunas cheese.
Thank you, Anaklahash. Once again, thank you very much, everyone. Look forward to seeing you guys next time. And again, I really appreciate you letting me spend the day with you and help facilitate through your meeting. Good luck, everyone. And to all those that are traveling, be safe. All those communities that are mourning, and our hearts and prayers are with you guys. And our hearts and prayers are with the people up in Old Crow as well. So God bless you all and take care, and have a good evening, everyone, and safe travels. Goodbye from Teslin.